Welcome to La Forêt. Today we are going to do something very interesting and important for whether you are a beginner or you are preparing for your DELF A1, which is a one-stop guide for understanding how verb conjugations work. So first of all, we will cover pronom sujet, different groups of verbs, a standard conjugation, the subgroups of these verbs, their conjugation. Before conjugating, let's discuss the pronom sujet. We have a total of 6 pronom sujet, 6 subject pronouns. They are je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, il, elle. Now please remember, as the name suggests, these are subject pronouns, which means they are used to replace subjects, and we use them to easily memorize the verb conjugations. In addition to these 6 pronouns, we also have another pronoun called en, which is used sometimes to replace nous informally. It is used as nous, but the conjugation is done just like singular il and elle. First of all, let's talk about er ending verbs. Er ending verbs are also referred to as first group verbs. They are the easiest and most common verbs to understand and to memorize the conjugation for. So what you do is, you take the infinitive, which ends with er or er, and you remove the infinitive, and these are the endings that you are going to add. So let's take an example of the word parler. So you have parler, you remove the infinitive ending, that leaves you with P, A, R, L, and you're going to add these endings to them. That will give you the conjugation je parle, tu parles, il, elle parle, nous parlons, vous parlez, il, elle parle. Now please remember that the third person plural, which is il, elle parle, ends with ent. A lot of students end up making this mistake, and then it is very difficult to correct. This combination of letters otherwise definitely is pronounced as on, but when as a verb ending it is silent, it is pronounced just as e. So you are going to pronounce that as parle. Common mistakes include parlons, parlant. It is incorrect. Please remember that you are not going to pronounce it like that. You have to pronounce it just as simple e. The pronunciation for je, tu, il, elle singular, il, elle plural is exactly the same for the conjugation. So it's je parle, tu parles, il, elle parle, nous parlons, vous parlez, again il, elle parle. Not parlons, not parlant, not any other XYZ pronunciation. Now, we are going to talk about some exceptions that exist in er ending group. The first one is the verbs ending with ger or ger in English. In these verbs, the only difference that is there in conjugation is that you are supposed to add an extra while conjugating it with nous, which means otherwise you would be putting the conjugation as GONS, whereas here you are going to put it as GEONS. For example, nous mangeons, nous nageons, nous partageons. This exception only applies with nous and ger ending verbs. The exception is the verbs ending with cer or cer. In this group of verb, again, with nous, you have to add a cedille under the C in order to help keep the soft S pronunciation. For example, nous commençons. Next exception is the verbs that end with YER. Ça veut dire les verbes qui se terminent par YER. In these verbs, you are supposed to change the Y to I. Ça veut dire le Y se change à I before the silent endings or the endings, which means je, tu, il, elle singulier, il, elle pluriel. You're going to change the given y to I, and for nous and vous, you can keep the given y. Your conjugation rules, other than that, stay the same. So the conjugation would look something like this for a verb like envoyer. J'envoie, tu envoies, il, elle envoie, nous envoyons, vous envoyez, ils envoient, elles envoient. The next exception is the verbs where the endings are ler or ter. In this case, the consonant between the two vowels doubles up with je, tu, il, elle singulier, il, elle pluriel. For example, j'appelle, tu appelles, il, elle appelle, nous appelons, vous appelez, ils, elles appellent. Same with jeter, je jette, tu jettes, il, elle jette, nous jetons, vous jetez, il, elle jette. Of exceptions is the verbs where you have a sound. For example, acheter, lever, mener, etc. In that, the sound gets converted to with the addition of an accent grave. So it becomes je lève, tu lèves, il, elle lève, nous levons, vous levez, il, elle lève. Keep it in mind that all of these exceptions that we are talking about, they generally do not affect the conjugation of nous and vous, and mostly affect the conjugation of je, tu, il, elle singulier, il, elle pluriel. The last exceptional group is where the accent aigu changes to accent grave, such as préférer, répéter, etc. It becomes je préfère, tu préfères, il, elle préfère, nous préférons, vous préférez, il, elle préfère. Let's talk about the IR ending verbs, which is IR in French. We have IR ending regular verbs, and then there is a huge list of IR ending irregular verbs. We'll start with the discussion of IR ending regular verbs. They follow the same pattern, like finir, for example. So in this, you remove the IR ending and you add these endings in order to conjugate it, which makes it je finis, tu finis, il, elle finit, nous finissons, vous finissez, il, elle finissent. The category of verbs that we have in IR ending is the partir type, which means they are a little different from the finir type of verbs. In this category, you take two different bases, and the first three, which means je, tu, il, elle, on, the three of them, they have s, t as their endings, and the rest three, which is nous, vous, and il, elle pluriel, they have the first group endings, which is ons, ez, and ent. So the base for the first three is par for the verb partir, and the base for the last three is part. So singulars, they have par. For plurals, they have part. So the conjugation becomes je pars, tu pars, il, elle, on part, nous partons, vous partez, il, elle partent. Then we have the third category of IR ending verbs, which look like IR ending verbs, but they take the endings and conjugations just like the first group, which is ER ending verbs. So the verbs are ER, but they take the endings of the first group that ends with ER en français. For example, ouvrir. So you remove the IR ending and you add the endings of the first group as shown on the screen. It gives you j'ouvre, tu ouvres, il, elle, on ouvre, nous ouvrons, vous ouvrez, ils, elles ouvrent. The rest of the verbs are given below as examples and they follow the same pattern. There are more IR ending verbs, but they follow a very irregular pattern. So we will club them with the irregular verbs that we will discuss later on. Right now we will go ahead with the RE ending verbs or RE ending verbs. The first category is attendre. So in that we follow this conjugation, which is j'attends, tu attends, il elle attend, nous attendons, vous attendez, ils elles attendent. Verbs given below, they follow the same pattern. Next we have the verb prendre and its derivatives. So we have the verb prendre, which is slightly different from the conjugation of attendre, which takes je prends, tu prends, il elle prend, nous prenons, vous prenez, ils elles prennent. The verbs like comprendre, apprendre, etc., they follow the same pattern. We have the verb mettre and its derivatives. So the verb mettre goes like this: je mets, tu mets, il elle on met, nous mettons, vous mettez, ils elles mettent. And the verbs like remettre, promettre, etc. follow the same. Then we have some irregular verbs such as lire, dire and écrire. They have their own conjugation, so you can take a look at them and you'll have to memorize them. They go like je lis, tu lis, il elle on lit, nous lisons, vous lisez, ils elles lisent. For dire, it is a similarish pattern. Je dis, tu dis, il elle dit, nous disons, vous dites, ils elles disent. Then we have the verb écrire, again with a slight variation. J'écris, tu écris, il elle on écrit, nous écrivons, vous écrivez, ils elles écrivent. Next category of the verbs are vouloir, pouvoir and devoir. So vouloir and pouvoir, they seem a little similar, though different, but you will find the similarities. Devoir is a little different, but regardless of being different, they are still pretty important to learn. So we have vouloir, je veux, tu veux, il elle on veut, nous voulons, vous voulez, ils elles veulent. With pouvoir, we have je peux, tu peux, il elle on peut, nous pouvons, vous pouvez, ils elles peuvent. With devoir, which is quite different, it is je dois, tu dois, il elle on doit, nous devons, vous devez, ils elles doivent. The next set of really important irregular verbs is être, avoir, aller, faire. They do not follow any pattern at all, so it is very important to memorize them. We have for être, je suis, tu es, il elle est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils elles sont. For avoir, we have j'ai, tu as, il elle a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, elles ont. For aller, we have je vais, tu vas, il elle on va, nous allons, vous allez, ils elles vont. For the verb faire, it is je fais, tu fais, ils elles on fait, nous faisons, vous faites, ils elles font. Now you have gone through all the conjugations that you need in order to survive A1. These are the basic verbs that you will need in order to form basic conversations which are required for DELF A1. You can expand on these verbs by understanding about different tenses, trying to convert these verbs into different tenses. and so on. The opportunities for you and the possibilities for you are endless. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you feel like it could be helpful to someone else, don't forget to share and subscribe for more such content. Until next time, bye bye.